Hi there. In this quick video we are going to take a look and also install into the car, and I'm also going to give you my impressions of a CPA chip tuning pedal controller. So let's get to the unboxing first. Okay, so if you don't know about throttle pedal controllers, they are meant to go between your actual pedal and the ECU of the car and change the way your car responds to your throttle inputs. Most modern cars have an annoying lag that is basically there so everyone is able to drive that car, because these cars actually have a lot of torque and are quite able to jump a lot forward when you simply touch the throttle pedal. So yeah, I think the manufacturers try to avoid that, so everybody from whatever age and whatever their driving skill is are able to drive these cars. And you can see this in cars that have a sport mode, but not for the gearbox. We are not talking about the automatic gearbox now. We are talking about the engine. That sport mode for the engine, don't be fooled. It's not really changing your maximum horsepower or something like that. It's just changing the way it responds to your throttle. Instead of maybe having a 1-to-1 response, you maybe have 1.5-to-1 response or something like that. So something like this could bring you in that level of sport mode. So let's see what we have in the box and go from there. And we are ready to unbox. Yeah, the explanation that I just gave you, it's oversimplified, might not be 100% accurate, but yeah, that's how it works basically. So what we have here, the controller itself, which you will glue with double-sided tape that is provided somewhere accessible in the interior of your car. So that depends to you when you will decide to glue it. Yeah, I quite like this, I think it's called braided cable. Yes, you do have some sort of programming port. I'm not sure if you can actually change the programming on this thing as an end user, or if it's just used no, I don't think it's for the end user. I think it's used for the CPA team when they program this thing especially for your particular throttle type. Don't think it's for the end user, but it's an what is it? Mini USB. I think it's a mini USB. Okay, so this is the thing, made in Germany, of course. Let's see next. Manual. So let me just take a quick look in this manual so it doesn't take so long for you. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to show you as much as I can. You can pause at any moment to read it, and I will try to give you the things that I think are really important. So not for the moment anything. Yes, this is what normally happens in a car, and this is what we are actually doing. We are changing this to the pedal box. And this thing, exactly as I suspected, comes with your predefined software for your car, with a particular adapter for your type of connector in the throttle pedal, manual, and double-sided tape for fixing into the car. And here are the instructions on how to fix it into the car. I will show for my A4 B8 from 2010. Here is a bit in the green area for keyless go cars. If you have the key nearby, you might get an error until you drive a few times. Okay, and we have a fast response mode where it quickly changes to Sport Plus. How to access this? Press the plus button for half a second and it will directly go to the most aggressive mode that this thing has. A really nice thing, if you press the minus button for 5 seconds, it will disable the LEDs on this thing. And that is really useful for night driving, depending on where you actually stick this thing on your dashboard. It might bother you, so you can disable the LEDs. Here are all your buttons explained. For me, from now, I think this will be the mode that I will use the most, Sport probably. I don't want extremely aggressive mode, but sporty driving behavior. That sounds good. So yeah, you also have eco modes if you want. Do not change the modes when you are already driving. I always like to change them when I'm at a stop or something like that. The main program, as I understand it, even Sport Plus, for example, has 3 levels. So from the factory, Sport Plus is at its highest level, so it's the most aggressive setting possible. But if you press plus and minus for at least 2 seconds, you will see the top and bottom LEDs starting to flash on this thing, and you are in the programming mode. You go to the mode that you want to change, so for example Sport Plus, and in Sport Plus mode you have the 3 versions. If it's blue, the LEDs in the middle, the 3 LEDs, it's low intensity. If it's white, it's medium intensity, and if it's red, it's the highest and most aggressive. From the factory we have it to deliver state, you have it to red. So you might want to change that, and to save you also press for at least 2 seconds plus and minus at the same time. But I will probably not use Sport Plus, so this doesn't really apply to me. Here are some other informations if you need them. And these 2 things, I do not have the nitro version of these things, so they will not be able to talk one to the other, but if you buy the nitro, then it's quite nice. I will link my box in the description if you want to also see that, obviously. And here are some contact informations. And what I want to tell you before installing this thing into your car, prepare everything and remove the contact from your car, the key from your contact, whatever you want to say, for at least 10 minutes, so power is out of your throttle pedal, because if not, you might get an error. The error will clear itself in time, or you might need to use an interface, a diagnostic interface to clear it. But if you let your car power down fully, you will not get the error. And this is what we need to connect to our pedal. I hope my camera is focusing, because I really have a weird position here. And I really like it. I've seen a few of this type of units until now, and I'm going to tell you what I really like about this one at this point. The cables themselves, as you can see, are protected, and they are individually sealed in here with rubber. Perfect. You do not want humidity in this thing. You might think that, okay, but humidity can get in here. No, it actually can't, because the connector that you connect this with looks like this one, and also this one has a rubber. You might see an orange seal in there. So the type of connector that will connect here will also seal everything. So wire sealed, this connection sealed, the connector that is coming from the car already sealed, no humidity in there. And this, again, if you can see deep inside there, not sure if it's possible on camera, we also have some rubber seals. This is going directly in the throttle pedal, sealing it, and locking in place, but only when it's plugged in you can push this. So this is not moving anywhere. This is quite safe plugged in there and should make good contact. And in here, in this particular sorry about that, connector, we have this tiny cable that goes further into your control box. The difference between this and some other units that I've seen, those other units had the control box itself in this area, so this was bulkier, and the remote itself was just a dumb remote. In this situation, in this product, this thing is actually the smart thing. All the smart electronics is in this, and the dumb part is this one. It's a different way of doing basically the same thing. And yes, this thing also seems to have rubber. This gray part in here is rubber. And in here, black part, rubber. So this is quite well sealed. Where we don't have a seal no, we actually have a seal even inside of this connection. There is a gray part deep in there. My camera will not focus on it. So everything is sealed in this particular unit, which is quite nice. So yeah, at this point, what can I do next? Go install it in the car and drive around and hopefully be happy with the result. So let's get to it. Quick suggestion to CPA tuning: maybe you could also include 2 or 3 of these things in the box with the product. Sometimes you need them to make the wires a bit tidier. So there's that. I have them, so for me, no issue. Okay, so to install this thing, as mentioned, my car has been off for more than 10 minutes. What you need to do first, remove this thing. With a flathead screwdriver, you just put it under it in this area, and then with your fingers get it out. It has a few clips all around, so it should come out easily. And for this thing, it has 1 screw down here, 1 screw in the other corner, and it also has 1 screw under this thing. And here it has some clips, and on the other side it also has some clips. So yeah, let me get to it. And you need something like this. I will link a cheap variant of this thing in the description of the video. And let me just double check what we will actually use. 8mm. It might not be 8. Oh yeah, it is an 8mm hexagonal socket. So let me undo this quite quickly, and my phone hopefully it will start to focus. All 3 screws are undone, so the lower part of this thing is already moving around, and you simply need to get your hand in there and start pulling it out, something like this. And by now you just need to also unclip it from this area, and it's simply done by pulling from, like I did, from this area, and you can see 2 clips in there, and on the other side of the dash I think 1 or 2, so I will do that in a second. And it's done, and it also has 2 clips. These things are not clips, this is rubber, rubber and rubber and rubber. The purpose is for them not to rattle. Make sure you don't lose them, rubber and rubber again. Anyway, so this is it. You still are connected to the diagnosed interface and to the footwell LEDs, but you can get this a tiny bit better out of the way, something like this, and it's good enough. And down there we need to work, so I will show you with a bit more light what we are going to do. Okay, so this is the area, this is the connector. You need to lift on this, and it's lifted, and now also pull on it, and somehow at the same time, yeah, it's tricky to do. You need to pull on the connector, the plug, while also holding this thing a bit to the back.
like that, because it has a clip that in the middle, that tiny one. So yeah, and there you can see the rubber, the sealing one. So let's connect the new plugs in there. Okay, so this one needs to go in there like that. I don't know if I can do it with one hand. Well, let's see, does it lock in place? Nope. If it doesn't lock, it means you did not yet push it enough. I might need my second hand to push it enough so I can lock the red safety pin or whatever it's called. Okay, so I wasn't able to lock this in place. There is a possibility that this particular connector is not 100% identical to that one. Maybe because it doesn't have these two rails, this safety clip will not lock in place, but it is clipping in place. So that, where is it? That little pin right in the middle is clipped, but just the safety thing doesn't go. So they cannot come apart, but I just cannot push this red thing in, and there's that. But they cannot come apart for sure. So it's clipped, but it's not locked. Anyway, there's that. And yeah, now this thing needs to be pushed upwards in here, and this one, quite hard to do it. It's quite a tight area in here. Also trying to show you at the same time, doesn't really go that well sometimes. Okay, quite close to the, yeah, and baby in the background, maybe you can hear her. Quite close to getting this connector. Okay, and I'm almost in. You can see this moving backwards, so we are ready to clip, and we clipped. And yes, this locks perfectly. So the other one just might be not identical, the connector 100%, so the lock mechanism does not work, but it is clipped in place. Now let's route this thing somewhere upwards, so everything will come out, all the cables through here somewhere, and I'm going to use some zip ties to hold them into this cable in a moment. Okay, as you can see, this wire is routed, not yet zip tied in place, until I connect it and make sure it is not too long, and tuck everything above this. You do not want any wires or anything coming close to the steering column, the brake pedal obviously, and not even the throttle pedal, so everything should be going above this vent, and for me it is already kind of going there. Just need to connect these two things. I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand for sure, or I'm getting kind of good at doing stuff like this while filming, so maybe not, because I don't know what's the proper orientation. Bear with me. No, okay, it is, and it clipped. Ha! I did it with one hand. So everything is sealed now. Just need to pull this wire upwards from this end, and then start closing everything back up after I zip tie it there in a moment. Okay, finally zip tied in place. You can see the connector right there, and this will be coming around here and will be sitting between these things in this area here, so that is pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to start now, put this thing back, because the cable with everything I can get out of the way through this hole and continue putting this thing back up. So let me get to that. As you can see, this thing is clipped back in place on both sides, and I got it dirty with something down there. Need to clean this car. Anyway, as you can see, the wire coming out through here, this waiting here, the controller. I'm going to put this screw here, and obviously one here and one there. These are the screws, so let me get to that. I will be genuinely amazed if I don't get any errors, because my wife kept opening the doors and this thing powered on for a few times. So yeah, we will see about that. Okay, next I'm going to put this thing on, because I put all screws already, and yes, what you hear around me are a bunch of crows. I don't know what they are waiting around here. Hopefully I'm going to disappoint them, because I don't have any food and I'm not becoming food for crows too soon. Okay, so let's zip tie this a little bit better and tuck it in there, in those fingers or whatever you want to call them. As you can see, my wires are interlocked with dead fingers. Cannot really show you, but also there in the middle. So it's a circle lowered onto the fingers. It's not going anywhere. You might think these are really visible. No, they are not. Just I'm using a flash now, so they are a bit shiny, but you cannot really see them. And this thing, double-sided tape in place. Perfect in my opinion. So what remains now is to drive this thing and later give you my final thoughts on it, but up until now everything is perfect. This little thing does a nice dance when you open or close your door, so it gets power. Hopefully my car will start even after a while, and probably music will also start, but we will see that in a second. Okay, and everything running perfectly. I think it's in eco mode or something like that. So no, we don't really want the most aggressive sport mode. Let's go a bit back. Yep. Oh, sorry, I wasn't on this thing anymore. So when it's on the white, it's like it's not here. These are eco modes, and this is what I want. And let me show you how you can actually jump from eco to that thing. If you hold it, yep, it jumps to the most aggressive setting. But for me, here it will stay for a while. So yeah, let's do some driving and I will get back to you with some thoughts and impressions. Just quickly want to show you how to program the aggressiveness of Sport Plus. Press these two things and you are in the setting mode. From factory it was on red. This is middle of the road and this is low. So I'm going for middle of the road, and again both these things pressed, and this is your setting. But then again, for me, I think this is good enough. Okay, so I've been driving with this thing for a while, and yeah, let me touch the pedal to give it a bit of juice. Or maybe the brake, or maybe this. And yeah, again it does that really nice thing. So it's the car itself cuts voltage and current to the pedal when the car is not in use, so that is why it went off. Anyway, so I've been driving with this thing for a while. Awesome. I'm really happy with the way it works. Here, honestly, ignore this ugliness. It's a really nice place for it. In the A4 B8 it's really to access, doesn't interfere with anything, your knees are far away from it. So yeah, again, no errors, no nothing. What can I say? Perfect. So go CPA chip tuning. All is good. I'm really happy with the product and hope this thing will last for at least as long as the car will last. So
Thank you everybody for watching this video. Hope it helps you, in which case please give it a like, check out my other videos, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye.